cut that a bit, and then
Yelling a bit because I'm yelling a bit.
right, because it's like, oh, we're so loud. Rah!
I have to match your decibels.
The dog biscuits. I have to match the dog biscuits. Dog biscuits. All right, are we?
Good to go.
We're good to go. All right, we're live. We're live on the YouTubes. What's up, YouTubes?
Hi, YouTube.
Okay, so yeah, let's do this. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Rabble of Thrones. Today we're going to talk about the episode titled "Garden of Bones," which rhymes with Game of Thrones.
It does a little, yeah.
Yes. So tonight it's just me and Tyler.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. So
some Rabble of Thrones time.
Some Rabble of Thrones time. Did you do the boob count this week?
I sure did, buddy.
Awesome, because I was like, is it 4? Okay. Yes, it is. Yes,
It's 4.
it is 4.
You can
You're
see
right.
them all in your head when you think about it.
Once you tell me, then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. There were 4.
That's right.
Awesome. So this episode starts with a couple of Lannister dudes, like
Yeah. Which
talking.
is really funny. Like the joke in the beginning is pretty funny.
Like probably the best like fart joke in all of television history.
Ever.
Like Terrence and Phillip would be proud of this fart joke.
Absolutely. Like he played it off really well.
Oh my god, it's so good. So they're sitting there and they're talking about how the war's going and how the Lannisters are better, and then and then the guy's like, oh, what about Loras? And he's like, well, Loras has been stabbing Renly for years and he ain't dead. And I'm like, that's a good line.
It's a great line.
And then and then the horses get kind of spooked, and so the one guy, the fatter guy's like, oh man, I think there's something out there.
Did you hear that?
And so the other guy with the mask on, and I hate those Lannister masks.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the Lannister mask motion. So
The hand motion for the episode, guys.
yeah, we got it. So okay, so he's like hand on the sword. He's like, what's going on? And then the guy just rips a fart.
Oh, and it's a good one too.
It is a good one, and the other, like, he loses it, and the guy's like, and so the one guy who ripped the fart, he's laughing his ass off because he knows it's good, right?
Yeah, and he goes to take a piss.
And he goes to take a piss, and the other guy's like, no, dude, there's really something out there. And he's like, you really think I'm an idiot and I would fall for that? And the guy's like, all right, but there's something out there. And then, boom, fucking wolf o'clock.
Wolf o'clock. Grey Wind shows
up and rips some fucking faces off.
Oh.
And then we see Rob, like, in the dark, all, like, brooding and angry.
Right.
So then we...
Cut to dead guy.
What's that?
Cut to dead guy.
Cut to dead guy with entrails, like... Yeah, it's like...
Bad dude.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
So we see the battlefield, the post-battle carnage, which I love about this show is it's like... there's all this like off-screen action that happens.
Yeah, it just puts it into your head. You're like, okay, this is what happened in my head.
Yeah, and they don't ever have to film the battle. Like, it's the best part. Like, what if they filmed like 4 or 5 actual battles in the whole series?
And they were like 2-minute sword fights with 2 guys.
Right.
And that was it. The rest of it's just kind of happening in the background.
So what I do love about this scene is we finally meet Roose Bolton.
We do.
And this is like the beginning of like Roose tells Rob one way to do things and Rob's like, no, I'm going to do it the other way.
Yeah.
And so this is the start of like Roose Bolton being like, this fucking kid, man.
Yeah. Doesn't want to do what needs to be done.
And the other thing that happens in this episode is we meet. So we're going along, and Roose tells him,
we don't have enough space to keep all these prisoners.
Right, we should just kill them. And Rob's like, we're not just going to kill them. That's not who we are. And then Roose says, well, like, my
officers would be
Right.
useful and we can torture them.
That's right. And because, a naked man tells few secrets and a flayed man tells none.
Yes.
And I'm like, yes, that is exactly right.
Yeah.
So, and Rob's not all about the torturing people.
No.
So then Rob comes across this like nurse, I guess, field nurse. I don't know.
Nurse.
And she's like helping this dude, a Lannister dude.
Yes.
And his leg is not good.
Not good at all.
And she's gonna cut it off.
Yeah.
And he
leg, sir.
He doesn't want to lose his leg. He doesn't want to be a cripple. He says, I don't want to be a cripple.
You can't blame him.
Really. Nope, you can't. No one wants to be a cripple.
Yep.
So Rob comes over and he's like, listen, dude, bite down on this. Don't look. And Roose is like, aren't there like some of our men you could be treating right now? And she's like, I don't treat your men. I just treat the people who need to be treated.
I treat men, not just your men.
That's right. So, and Rob notices that this girl is, attractive.
She's fairly pretty.
Yeah, and so he holds the dude down. She starts sawing his leg. There's some good sound effects there too.
And, like sawing the leg.
Yeah, like just. And there was like some like bone snapping and like.
It was just graphic.
It was good, but off screen.
Off screen, but
very off screen.
There's again, your imagination goes to town.
The sound is what really sells it.
Oh.
So then, so it cuts to her afterwards, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's well on in the
right. It's
sequence after battle.
Right.
And she's walking away, gathering her stuff.
Yeah, and
Rob notices her doing this.
Right. So he asks her name, and she gives it, and it is. See, I'm smart now. You guys got me on this whole
or something like that.
Yes.
Talisa.
Yeah. Yes. See, you guys got me on this wiki thing, right? So now I can.
Thing is so good.
Now I can actually see the names when I'm going on my notes, and I'm like, I could just use the wiki, which has all the same notes I take. But I like having my own words, right? Because I like writing down what I was thinking.
Well, and sometimes too, it'll like what happens in the summary on the wiki isn't exactly in order,
right?
Because it goes from realm to realm,
right?
So it'll all what's happened in this paragraph. It's all in the Seven Kingdoms,
right? And that's the one thing that's tough about it because it does happen out of order.
Yeah, jumbles
in the show. So yes, her name is Talisa. And anyway, so he's asking her what her last name is because he wants to know which side she fights for.
Yep.
Or her family fights for. And she, she's like, what does it matter? And,
well, you know my last name because, everybody knows who the fuck I am.
I'm the king of the North, bitch.
What up, bitches?
I'm the king of the North. So she, she's like, you guys are just killing each other for nothing.
Yeah.
And
he wants to avenge his father's death by killing Joffrey.
Right.
Doesn't want the throne. He doesn't fucking give a shit about the throne.
Right. And she's like, so you're planning to overthrow a king and you have no plan of what you're going to do after he's gone.
Yeah.
He's like, wow,
win the war first.
Gotta win first.
It does make sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. He's right. But she's also right that he should have a plan.
Yes, he should have a plan.
He should have a plan. So then we cut to I guess, and then she leaves, right? Like she's leaving on her little. She
hops on her wagon and says, "Tap tap, let's go."
Yeah, and then he gives the look, like the look, like.
She does say she's from Volantis, though.
Right. That's right. And so then he gives the look, and it's like, oh, Rob, I don't know if you remember or not, but your mom promised you to the phrase.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know.
Dick in your pants.
Maybe
dick in your pants.
It's something like that. So then we cut to the throne room.
Yes.
Where
This is quite the scene to
This
come
is
into.
so good. So Joffrey's like got the crossbow pointed at Sansa, and he's like, I like how I just misspoke and called him she. By the way,
Well, whatever. He's a little bitch.
so he's like, you're gonna answer for your treasonous brother's actions, and so then Lancel's like going on telling the court all the shit he did.
And now because he's banging the queen, he's all entitled and shit.
Right. I mean, if you were banging the queen, you would be entitled to.
But at least I wouldn't look like a little fairy. Let's be honest here.
Maybe you would. You don't know.
Well,
You
if
would.
I was a Lannister,
You
yeah.
would be a Lannister,
Yeah.
so
I would be a Lannister, so I might be a little fairy.
so
You have a point.
he decides that Sir Meryn's gonna walk over and just punch her, but he's like,
Away from the face.
yeah, no, I like her pretty face, so he just fucking gut punches her.
Yeah.
And
Starts slapping her with
starts hitting her with the sword, and fucking Tyrion walks in, and he's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" And
Seriously? What are you?
Yeah.
What?
yeah, and so Meryn starts speaking up, and what does Tyrion say to Joffrey? Because he says something good, and then Meryn's
said
like,
something about. Well, Joffrey says, "Well, I'm the king. I can do what I want."
right,
And he says back, "The Mad King did what he wanted."
right,
Did
Did
your
your
Jamie
uncle-
ever tell him what happened to him?
right. And then Meryn's like, if you're
Threaten the king.
yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up for threatening the king, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not threatening him. I'm just
I'm educating my nephew.
Right." And then he says to Bronn, "Hey, Bronn, if this guy opens his mouth again, you fucking kill him.
That's a threat.
That's a threat. Recognize the difference."
So good.
So good.
Just brilliant.
And daring him to talk, because Bronn would have just fucking...
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't have got the good Arya scene, so...
True.
So it's better this way. So yeah, so he tells... what I love about this scene is he says, "Will someone please cover Sansa up?" And who does it?
Oh, the Hound.
Exactly. Man, there's something about this time watching it through where it's just like I'm picking up all these small things that the Hound is doing,
Yeah.
where you're like, he's not a bad dude, and
Not a bad dude.
he never was a bad dude. He just likes killing folk.
He likes killing folk, and he's doing what he's told by the guys
He's sworn to, right? So
That's the word.
so so he covers her up, and
Tyrion walks down, grabs her hand, picks
Yeah,
her up,
picks
and
her up.
kind of walks out.
it was a good scene. He's like, and as they get to the door, he's like, "Listen, tell me honestly, like, if you want out of this engagement, I can make it happen." And
Yeah.
she's like, "No, I love Joffrey. He's my king." And then he says, "Lady Stark, you may make it out of this alive."
There's something along those lines.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay. So we get the sense that she's sort of playing along. Like, I don't know, like,
she's kind of playing the Game of Thrones a little.
maybe she had a plan,
Maybe she did.
like kill him in his sleep after they were married or something
Yep.
like that, right? So,
Very well could have.
so yeah, so they get to the top of the stairs and she leaves, and so it's Bronn and Tyrion standing there, and Bronn's like, he's backed up balls to brains, and so they're insinuating that dude just needs to get laid.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what does Tyrion do? But
Sends him some girls.
gives him a couple ladies of the night.
Yep.
So Roz and the one that was with Pycelle when he got arrested. Yeah. So they're in his room, and he's like, "Oh,
Those are our 4 boobs, peeps.
Roz just like starts like grabbing him in the crotchal region." And he doesn't seem all that interested. Which I mean should send alarm bells to everybody. Like,
A
okay.
little bit. A little bit.
So he's like, you know what? You guys go and do stuff. And so she goes over to the bed and dress comes off and he's like, you know what? How about you hit her?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Hard.
then yeah, harder, harder. That's not hard enough.
And then the crossbow comes out again.
Yeah. And then he's like, he hands her the belt with the thing, and he's like, hit her harder, and she doesn't like it, obviously. And then he gives her that weird like scepter thing with the antlers on it. And he's like,
Yeah.
and he hands it to her, and I'm like, what does he intend her to do with that?
I don't even.
Is
want
it just hit her with it? Because let's hope that that's all it was.
Let's hope.
Let's
But
hope.
my God.
Yeah. So then he says that because Roz is like, you know, your uncle paid for us, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, and when you're done, I'm gonna take you to his door and show him what I did. So, not good. And this is really the beginning of the feud, right?
Yeah.
Like, or like the early on of the feud between
Yes.
Joffrey and Tyrion.
This is don't fuck with me.
Right.
Sansa's my bitch.
That's right. So, next scene is Baelish meets up with Renly, and you know Renly's not exactly fond of Lord Baelish because you know he was just like, yeah, whatever. Let's let the Lannisters take over and not really do anything about it. And so, what was Baelish's plan here? I can't even remember. 'Cause what was he saying to Renly? Like, I know why he's there for real, but he had a reason to be there for Renly. Oh, he said,
He
shit.
tries to get his trust by saying that if he doesn't go march on the capital, like he's gonna help him take down.
Oh, right. That's right. Because he says, would you rather...
He's gonna do it as an inside job.
Right. Would you rather get there and have to fight the siege, or get there and there'll be open gates?
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of his offer. I don't know. We don't really...
Yeah.
Not much.
Well, yeah. We don't really get to it.
Like, I mean, from the first season, we got that they didn't really care for each other.
No.
You know, this isn't new. So yeah, so then Baelish is standing outside, and Marjorie's walking up, and so he starts talking to her, and he's like, "Oh, you know, all these tents look the same. I don't know which one's mine." And so she's like, "Oh, I'll show you," and they get walking, and he's talking to her about their marriage and how, you know, on their wedding night, who was in the bed with him, and
Yeah.
all of this, like just letting her know, like, hey, I know which way Renly swings. But she's like, yeah, he's my king and my husband, and or no, she says my husband is my king and my king is my husband, or something along those lines.
Yeah. Like, yeah,
So,
I know, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't care.
As long as he knocks me up, I don't give a fuck.
That's right. So, all right. So then we get one of the Dothraki dudes comes back, and he's like, I found this place. It's 3 days from here. It's called Karth, and they would love to meet the mother, or they would love to receive the mother of dragons. So she looks to Jorah. And she's like, "What do you know of this place?" And he's like, "Well, I know that they call everything outside the walls the Garden of Bones." So she's like, let's go check it out. Let's find out what's going on in Karth.
As well.
Might as well. So then Arya, Gendry, and Hot Pie arrive in Harrenhal.
Yes.
And I like Gendry's like, oh man, what kind of fire melts stone? Arya's like, dragon fire? Like, how am I a 10-year-old girl I know all this shit and you don't. You fucking idiot.
Well, he's a
Like,
bastard child.
like Gendry, read a fucking book.
Well, he's a bastard child of the king.
Yeah, well,
She's
read a book.
he probably doesn't. Does he know how to read? I don't think he knows how to read.
I don't think he does either.
I believe we come across that in a later episode.
We might.
I
That'll
think
be, yeah. I'm gonna keep an eye out for that. So, so then Hot Pie's like, man, what's that smell? And Arya's like, dead people. Like she's just like, I know this is dead people.
it's burned flesh.
So they get inside, and it turns out that there's this old woman, and she's like, oh, they're killing. They killed my my sister, and then the day before they killed my husband, and then they killed my son, and this and that. So they just take people and torture them, and then kill them.
Until they maybe give them something. Maybe
Right.
not.
But probably they're just killing people just because whatever. Because killing people is fun. Especially the way they do it, which they didn't show yet. We'll get to that later.
Yes.
So nighttime comes and Arya's laying in the dirt and she's reciting her list. Cersei, Joffrey, Ilan Payne, the Hound, the Mountain. Although no, I don't think the Mountain got put on there till later.
I don't think the Mountain's there yet, but
He is there later in this episode
because he's there in at the camp where they are.
Right.
He's currently the commander of those forces.
Right.
He's in charge.
So yes, okay, so now we go back to Catelyn's in her tent with Renly, and Baelish walks in and she's like, what the fuck do you think you're doing here? You know, like you betrayed me, you betrayed my husband, you said you would help us and you didn't. And he like tries to play it off like, no, had he just done what I said, he'd still be alive. And it's like, nope, that's a lie. And then he's like, I've loved you since I was a little boy. Like, fate's given us a chance here. And he like grabs her and she's like, are you fucking kidding me? And pulls the fucking knife on him.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right. Well, there's a reason I'm here. And they want to trade Jaime for Arya and Sansa. And he says both girls are healthy and safe, which is a lie.
Liar.
Well, I mean, both girls are alive, but he doesn't know that. They have no idea where Arya is. But okay, so here's the thing: he lied like flat out to her.
Yes.
What happens when they get Jaime back? Like they don't even they were never gonna send the girls back, were they? I mean, I want to think that Tyrion would be good to his word.
You know what? I think they probably would have.
Right, but what happens when they're like, "Oh, you sent us Jaime. Here's Sansa. Want? We don't have Arya." You know what I mean? Like,
well, and that's why they're so like hard bent on finding her.
Right.
Like they're out looking for her right now. They find her.
Right.
Ow.
Meanwhile, she's right under their noses.
Right under their fucking noses.
So.
And about to fuck shit up.
Yep. So he says to the like priestess women come in and drop a box on the ground, and he's like, here's a sign of good faith from Tyrion. Ned's remains should be in Winterfell and with the rest of his family. And he goes to keep talking, and she just like she breaks down. She's like, get out. Like, just get the fuck out.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's a good scene. It's weird because I don't know. Like, we still don't know Baelish's motives in this whole thing. Like, we don't know where.
Yeah,
like,
even now.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like, he has no allegiance to anybody.
Right.
So. Right. So
and
what?
One of my favorite lines about him in this entire show is Baelish doesn't care if the kingdom is burned to the ground, he
Right.
just wants to rule it.
Right. So back to Harrenhal.
Yes.
We find out that the mountain is the one who picks the people to get tortured.
Yes.
So
Duh.
so he comes walking up, and everybody kind of turns to like look down, like don't just don't see me. I'm not even here. Pick someone else. And Hot Pie just stares at him, just glaring at him. And Arya's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "This guy over here told me he stares at him every day, and he never gets picked. So I'm gonna do that too." So the guy's staring at him, and fucking the mountain picks the guy staring at him.
Yeah.
And Hot Pie fucking pisses his pants. So good. So they take him. So they take him over, and there's the guy questioning them. I can't remember if he has a name. I don't think he has an actual name.
The guy who's torturing them?
The Tickler, right?
The tickler.
Okay.
They call him the tickler.
They call him the Tickler. And so he asks, where's the Brotherhood?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's like, I don't know. He's like, who in the village is helping them? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know anything. And then so they take a bucket and they put a rat in it. And then they strap it to his chest.
Yep.
And then they light it on. They get a torch, and they fucking put it to the bottom of the thing. So the rat's only escape is to crawl through. Like, that's a terrible fucking way to die.
Bad Boys 2.
Is it Bad Boys 2?
I think so.
I don't know. I haven't seen Bad Boys 2 in a long time.
I think it's Bad Boys 2. It's either, no, it might no.
No.
Fast and Furious.
Oh. Also not
Fast and Furious 2.
Not a Fast and the Furious guy.
No way.
Nah,
they do that exact same move, but it's like it's a metal.
Yep. Not a wood.
On fire. Not wood.
Not wood. Yep. So, so Arya's now added some names to the list.
Yes.
Which include the mountain. All right, so the next scene, the great scene. This scene is so good. Renly and Stannis meeting.
Oh yeah, Stannis shows up.
So Stannis is like, he's just so righteous, right? He's like, the throne is mine. He's like, you have no claim to it. I like, you can either you come and you fight with me, right? I'll give you your spot back. I'll name you my heir until I have a son. He's like, this is the way it is. And Renly's like, go kick sand. We're not doing this. None of these people want to follow you. You'll be a terrible king. Nobody likes you. You're ugly. Your red lady sucks. All of this wonderful stuff. And so that's it.
Yeah. Says we're coming for you, bitches.
Yeah. So see you in the morning, buddy. So.
And then Melisandre says, look to your sins, Lord Renly, for the night is dark and full of terrors.
Full of terrors. So, the other thing I do want to point out is, Stannis says to Catelyn, like, it's weird seeing you with my brother, even though your husband, supported my claim to the throne.
Yeah.
And she's like, we all have the same enemy. She's like, I'm just here trying to get everybody to work together to get rid of the fucking Lannisters. Like, that's the problem. We shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be working together.
Yeah. The enemy of my enemy is my...
Exactly. So, Daenerys arrives at Karth. And she meets the 13.
The 13.
Who are the people who run Karth.
Yep, wealthy bitches.
Wealthy, rich dudes. So the guy that comes out doesn't really have a name. He's just a spice trader. Because his name is long and hard to pronounce. King. Yes. So he's like, welcome to Karth, the greatest city that ever was or ever will be.
Keep saying that.
We want to bring you into the city, but we just want to see your dragons. And she's like, well, I don't know if I want to show you my dragons, because, I mean, you might just kill us here and take the dragons, I think is more what she was worried about. And she's like, listen, I got hungry people. They're thirsty. How about you feed us, bring us into the city. After we're all full bellies,
Yeah.
then it's dragon o'clock.
Dragon the clock, bitches.
And he's like, no.
I don't like that idea.
No. So that's cool. We're just gonna go back inside. We'll see you guys later. She's like, wait. What do you mean? You're gonna just leave us here? And he's like, pretty much.
We want to see our dragons.
And she's like, well, if you don't let us in, all of these people, all of us are going to die right here. And he's like, we'll be very sad about that, but that's the way it goes. So he keeps walking, and she's like, these dragons are going to grow up, and I'm going to raise an army, and we're going to burn cities and take back what's ours, and yada, yada, yada. And she's like, and the first place we're going to come if you don't let us in is this fucking city. And he's like, but you just said that if we don't let you in, you're going to die. So your whole argument, just collapses on itself.
Yeah.
So he turns around and starts walking away. And then the one dude,
How do you say this?
Zaro Zohan Daxos.
Let's call him Daxos from now on.
No, Zaro. Zaro's fine. So he's like, whoa. I kind of want to get to know this chick.
She's hot.
Yeah, and she's got dragons. We should help her. And the guy's like, no, the 13 have spoken. And he's like, whoa. I'm one of the 13, and I'm still speaking. So let's talk this through. And the guy's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then he's like, takes his fucking knife out, cuts his hand. He's like, I'm going to let her in. She's with me. All you bitches need to back off. And so the Spice King was really pissed.
Really pissed.
He was really pissed. So he come on into Karth. It's the greatest city that ever was or ever will be.
True.
So
in they go.
So then we go back to Harrenhal.
Yeah.
And they're putting the dude that they were questioning earlier, they're putting his head on a spike. Just hammering it in. It's so good. Good sound effects again. Just a nice
it'd be good in the sound editing.
Squishy sound. It's pretty good. So time to pick again.
Mm-hmm.
Mountain comes over, and he's like, I pick you, and points at Gendry. And Gendry's like, okay. So goes with him. They start questioning him. They're like, where's the Brotherhood? He's like, I don't know what that is. Who in the village is helping him? I'm not even from this village. And they're like, okay. And they get the rat, they get the bucket, and just in the nick of time, Tywin shows up. Tywin's like, the fuck are you guys doing? These people are people that can work and they can do shit. Why are you torturing and killing them? Put them to work. And so he goes over to Gendry and he's like, what's your trade? And Gendry's like, I'm a smith. And he's like, see, look at this, perfectly good smith. You got him fucking about to die. And then they're like, and then Arya does something. And what's that dude's name? Why can I not think of that dude? Starts with a P.
Which dude?
The one that stole her sword.
Oh, fuck.
Yep, that guy.
That dude.
Yep. Pulliver, yes. Pulliver. Yeah. So Pulliver's goes to hit her, and Tywin's like, knock it the fuck off. And he's like, oh boy, knock your shit off. And he's like, this isn't a boy, this is a girl. Dressed like a boy. And he's like, why are you dressed like a boy? And Arya's like, safer to travel. And he's like, that's smart. Unlike everybody else here. He's like, get all these people to work and send her up to my chamber. She's going to be my cupbearer. Yeah. And it's and this sets up such an awesome thing. Her with Tywin. Although in the books it was different, right? It was Roose.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it
And
was not Tywin in the books.
I mean that the Tywin part is so much smarter. I think.
Yeah,
Did it work with Roose? I don't know. I'll
it,
like,
it, it yeah, it worked.
but
But I think
Roose,
I do like how it is Tywin in the show because
right?
again, there's that
That
like
tension that if he like finds out,
yeah, where like it was
because
Ruth finds out, it's like whatever.
yeah, because well, Roose is technically on their side,
Technically, yes.
right? So I mean, if it was Roose, like, couldn't she just say, "Yo, I'm Arya Stark. Like, get me home."
Yeah.
Like, so all right, so Lancel comes to Tyrion's quarters or whatever
Such
room,
scary.
sanctuary. He's like, hands him a piece of paper, and he's like, Cersei demands that you release Pycelle, and he's like, okay. And then so he just goes on this long like, well, if I'll tell the king that you've been boning his mom. I wonder how he'll feel about that. And I'll tell this person you've been boning her, and I'll tell that person. And by the end of it, Lancel's like, no, don't tell anybody. I'll stop. I'll whatever. And he's like, no, no, no. You go, and I want you to tell me who she's meeting with, what they're talking about, what they're saying. I want to know everything. And he's like, don't worry. I'll let Pycelle out. He's like, I love this too. He's like, yeah, I'd like to say that I didn't hurt a hair on his head, but that would be a lie.
Yeah.
Whoops. Oops. So, I don't know. Like, the scene went on a long time, but, like, really nothing happened. Like, that was the whole gist.
Yeah, really nothing happened. That could have been done over and quick.
I think I did it fast enough.
Yeah, I think you did.
So, then we come to Davos and Stannis on a boat. And, Stannis asks Davos why he keeps the fingers around his neck. Which, this is the first time they mentioned it in the show, right? That he has the fingers around his neck, yes.
I believe so.
So, he says, and it's amazing that I didn't catch this before, and I love that I caught it now. So, he's like, well, it's 4 less fingernails that I have to clean. And Stannis goes, for fewer. And because if you remember, do you remember the episode in this past season? Where, so Stannis is at the wall.
Yeah.
And they're, oh fuck, they were talking about something. And someone says, no, but someone says less. Like it's la less, and he goes fewer. He like corrects it again, and so this is twice that he's like correcting grammar. So it's like Stannis is a grammar Nazi, and anyways. So Stannis tells Davos, "I need you to smuggle Melisandre ashore, and you can't ever tell anybody what you saw. We will never speak of this again." And then that'll be the end of it. And Davos is like, all right, whatever. I've done weirder shit. So they get on the boat, him and Melisandre, and she's asking him like, you a good man or you a bad man? He's like, well, I think most people are a little bit of both. And she's like, well, if half of an onion is rotten, then it's a rotten onion. So you either are or you aren't. You're either good or you're bad. And he's like, well, what about you? Are you good or bad? And she's like, oh no, I'm good. She's like, I'm all the way good. He's like, okay, cool.
In your head, you're all the way good.
Yeah. So
Bitch.
So they get ashore, and she's asking about. She's like, you're married, right? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, but you've been with other chicks. And he's like, nah. Let's not talk about my wife. And she's like, I'm not talking about your wife. I'm talking about other women. Like me. She's like, you wanna bone me, don't you? You wanna see what's under these robes. And he's like, he doesn't say anything. And she's like, don't worry, you will. I'm like,
it's coming.
This is getting creepy. So they get into the caves, and because he's used these caves before, right? So they get in there, and he gets to the spot, and he's like, and there's bars, and he's like, oh fuck, they barred up the passage, like we're kind of screwed. And she's like, don't worry, this is good enough. And he's like, the one line I do like that he says, he's like, you claim that you serve the Lord of Light, but you're always working in the shadows. And she's like, well, there can't be shadows without light.
True.
Shadows are the servants of light, and blah blah blah. So she, she's yapping, and she turns around and takes off her top, and
not just her top.
The whole gear is off. So she turns around, and she's like all the way pregnant.
All the way.
And it's like, how did this happen? Like they just boned, a week ago. So okay, cool. So she just has babies real quick. So then
boobs. Don't forget boobs.
Right, and then there's boobs, and then she lays down on the ground
and baby
goes into having a kid.
Oh.
And it's like a weird, creepy smoke monster. It's like the Lost smoke monster.
Yeah, it's a shadow baby.
Crawling out though. Like it was like really crawling and blah. And so, oh man, I hope nobody ISOs that.
Oh,
I made a really good face. Fucking god damn it!
Just give this.
You're gonna tell Sal. You're gonna be like, Sal, grab it. So, yeah. So then the smoke baby stands up, and then credits.
Yeah.
And I remember...
What the fuck?
So I remember watching this for the first time and being like, okay, we've got dragons. Now we got, weird smoke babies. Like, where is this show going?
Yeah.
So... And I mentioned it before. I always thought it was cool how they did this, fantasy show, but kept it grounded in reality. And this was at watching the first season.
Yeah.
And then, oh, yeah, no, all of that's gone. There's no reality here.
Fooled you.
So, that was it. That was the Garden of Bones.
That was the Garden of Bones.
Very good episode. God, season 2 was so good. Very,
very short in the actual Garden of Bones, though.
Yeah, to call the episode that and to, just be like, it's like if you die out here, you make more bones.
Yeah.
The garden grows.
Yes.
So, not much in the way of casting or filming news this week.
What a shame.
Yeah, it was kind of weak. I guess they've cast, okay, you remember the guy in season 1 that robs Direwolf, bites his fingers off?
I believe so.
The guy that's on Rob's side, and he bites his finger. The bigger guy, right? Apparently, they've cast his son.
Oh, okay.
So, because we never really saw what happened to that guy. He never died or anything. He was just kind of gone. So we'll see where that goes. But aside from that, there's been really nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we might be done this week.
Yeah. That was a good one.
It was a good one. One of the best ones in season 2. Actually, season 2 just is good, beginning to end. I love season 2. I think season 2. No, season 3 is probably the best. But we'll see. We'll get there. So, all right. Well, thank you for listening and watching Rabble of Thrones this week. We'll see you guys again next week.
Bye-bye.